Welcome to Synchronicity. We have a big ol' episode this week. Oh God, I gotta readjust. Hold on. I wasn't seated in the right position and it would have been awkward the whole time. So welcome to Synchronicity. Have you been oscillating between bliss and fear? Knowingness and doubt recently? Yes, I bet you have. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you just fucking locked in completely. But I've been talking to a lot of people, and myself included. It's been a rocky little road here. We had this big old shift on 12/12, and then 12/13 was Friday the 13th. That was pretty nuts. Everywhere I've been going, it's been raining, and I like to look at rain like purification. There's a lot of purification going on, but purification can also be like purging, like for people who are like ayahuasca people, that can be a process that one goes through that's healthy and wonderful, but also like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? That's the karmic squeeze we're going through. There's a lot of reasons for it. We're going to get into some of the astrological ones going up. Before we get into everything, I've been working here with my sister to kind of rejigger my whole my whole life, but specifically related to my readings. There is a Patreon now. You can find it, patreon.com/synchronicity. Everything is there. I said I'm not going to be mentioning it. I'm only saying that because people have been like, where is it? It's there. I'll be talking about it more towards the end of the year. There is a group reading for this month if you're there, but I want to talk about these readings that I'm doing in general because I'm really changing everything up for a lot of reasons. So I'm only doing 6 days a month now for readings, 4 to 6, I'll say. So there's relatively limited availability on, when these are available. That's what a dumb way to say that. Limited availability on the days these are available. Jesus Christ. But point being this, all right, I'm trying to get this out. I have it all written down too, like a dork. There's really only going to be 3 per day. And there's going to be 6 total days per month. And I have them all set up through June. So the first 2 quarters, they're going to be on new moons and full moons. And then there are astrologically significant days for the other ones that are open. I'm doing this for a variety of reasons. One is it's organized. It's clear when you can do these. There's a variety of times. Now, if you have a birthday or something special, you can hit me up. There's potential ways to do that. But for the most part, not even for the most part, this is pretty much it. Now, to kick this off, we're doing a fun thing. I don't know if you guys know this. We're going to talk a little bit in this episode about kind of astrologically what's going on. There's an eclipse on Christmas Eve and Christmas. There's some crazy shit going down, just to be clear. But I am going to do this December, the 23rd, the 24th, the 25th, the 26th, and the 27th, that whole week. So Christmas Eve, Christmas, that whole week, we're going to be doing basically Christ consciousness readings. And Christ consciousness doesn't need to be this vague, new agey woo thing. I mean, it kind of is, but it is just these readings will be specifically charged and designed to deal with you waking up to who the fuck you are. It's that simple. It's you remembering who you are. It's kind of allowing the consciousness that creates your entire reality to come forward. So if you are called to this, if this makes sense for you, this is going on 23rd through the 27th of December, 2019. This is like a very powerful time. I'm like, I really try to not toe the line. I don't want to be new agey and wooey, but like when shit's going on, shit is going on. And I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about just energetically. This last month of 2019 is we are in the thick of it. And 2020 is going to be crazy too. Not bad, but like there's a lot of Capricorn energy. We spoke about the path of fear, using your triggers and fears as a method to propel yourself up the fiery spiral of ascension. This is a good time to do this. So anyway, all of these readings now are first come, first serve. There is limited availability. I know it sounds so fucking markety, but it also, a big reason for this is now I have like days where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Let me get into tarot and astrology mode. Let me go figure out what's going on. Now, I'm also, in case you haven't think I totally sold out, I hope this lines up perfectly. This would be amazing. So this episode, I think Jess is going to release it probably the week this comes out. We like start off making fun of people who are like selling their courses and shit. And like, it's scammy. I hope you guys can discern the difference of like something that me and Jessa do with the readings and someone who's like, I'm going to make you spiritually enlightened in my 11-part course. I hope you can tell the difference. I know the people who have gotten the readings from me and for her, and I hear about hers all the time. You get it. You fucking get it. I'm not pitching this stuff so much as I'm just presenting the new organized structure for it. I'm sorry I'm taking up 10 minutes of a fucking intro to talk about this shit, but I'm getting it out there. It's clear. Anyway, if you use the code Christ, Jesus fucking Christ. If you use the code Christ, CHRIST, you get 13% off on any hour-long booking that you do for that week, the 23rd through the 27th, because this is Jesus Day, and we're all Jesus. You get that? It wasn't a dude. This isn't like a dude. It's you, and you'll wake up to this shit. Anyway, so we'll be doing Celtic crosses and astrology readings, and there's also going to be a destiny spread. We'll do a bridge of destiny spread. So that's the only week that's going to be happening. All of the other readings are going to be the regular ones you book, 30 minutes or an hour. Those dates you can just scroll through as you go, syncpodcast.com/readings. There'll be a link on this episode. God, I'm talking about this so much. And you can just book from there. And yeah, it's going to be sweet. Oh, okay. Did I write this too? Yes. First 7 people to book also get a bonus destiny spread for the ones that aren't in the Christ consciousness readings. God, Jesus Christ. This is truly the worst presentation of a new system maybe ever debuted. I'm going to obviously have to talk about it again next week because this was fucking a rambling mess of stuff. The readings are a lot better. The readings are fucking great. You talk to anyone who's had one. I don't know how you would do that, but they're good. I'm good at it. So, holy shit, Noah. Okay, so that's going on, and we're just going to skip through right to the other stuff. Where should we start? So, we have a lot of stuff to cover today. I think what we will start with is the questions because that's just a good place to start. Okay. All right. Nimue. Should we do maybe a collective? We'll do those after the questions. I haven't pre-selected one, but we should. Oh, I have a good one. Okay, we'll do it after that, though. Okay. Question number 1. Been racking my brain to think of new questions. One that came up was, do you have any tricks you use when you have any doubts about what you're imagining? I find myself looking for signs more than I think is helpful. Moon and Virgo bullshit. All the Virgo moons hit me up and they're like, why are you attacking me? What did we do to you? Also, if you have time, if you can imagine a sudden incredible, oh yeah, dude, got you. You got that job. Got it. And then, not sure if this is weird or not, but would you like us to imagine anything specifically for you, meaning me? Yeah, I would actually, but I'll get to that later. Let's go with your question. Do I have any tricks you use? Yeah, the doubts. Okay. I know this is like such a doubty time. I get it because like, here's what's going on for real is people are really about to level up. And if you've played video games, I had the privilege last night of going to my friend's place. We made a lot of music. We played a lot of video games, like old school ones. I'm really good at video games too. I'm like fucking annoyingly good, if you play against me. But if you know like a big boss or a part of a level is coming, that's like a big deal that you've been stuck with. This weird thing happens where you can make it like, oh, it's such a big deal. And like that can be inspiring and energetically like a boost, or it can make you more nervous. And it's kind of like this idea that if you're walking across a wooden plank, and it was on 2 cinder blocks and to walk across it, you probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But if you put it up like 100 feet in the air between skyscrapers or 200, however tall skyscrapers are, you'd be freaked the fuck out. It's the same mechanical process, let's pretend wind and all that shit doesn't exist, but it's the same mechanical process, but the importance you've placed on it makes it very, very like, oh shit. So doubts, I like to look at kind of the same way, which is they come up, they're there, but maybe it's you about to transcend something and you're just kind of aware of it and you're putting a little bit too much importance on the thing. And especially if it's something you've been stuck with. Here, you want me to use a personal example? Let's use money. I'm in the process of, not in the process, like I've ramped up my income in a lot of different ways and I'm still in the process of doing it. So I have doubts that'll pop up and be like, oh my God, can I really do this? Is this really how it works? Is this really happening? Is this okay? Is this going to continue? All of those things, regular questions. And that could be applied to anything. If it's a relationship thing for you, if it's a job, if it's, I don't know what people are into, a project, a creative project. We can all ask ourselves the similar questions like, oh shit. Just, it's fine. Just don't worry about it. You're good. Your consciousness, your state of I am, your belief, right? That is liquid light. Right? For real. It's this liquid light. And what we do is by believing in it and crystallizing it and having faith in it. I gave it away. We crystallize it, right? So you have faith in your state of consciousness. You dwell in it. You live in it. And then you crystallize it into the world. So at worst, what you're doing with doubt is just kind of making it not hard, right? Whoa, that came out weird. Oh, shit. You're making it, you need to Viagra your crystal light is what I'm saying. You got it? You just need to have faith and belief that your mind and your consciousness quite literally is the generative cause. And by getting familiar with how to stabilize that, your disciplines of mind, the 12 disciples, you can kind of transcend doubts and they actually become useful because they show you where your kind of friction points or boundaries are, and then you transcend them. So if you're looking for signs, signs always follow. So if you continuously look for signs, you're going to come to this point where the signs aren't as helpful. Signs are always there. Everything is a sign. That's very important to know because you're constantly trying to communicate to yourself the truth of the situation, which is you are God, you are everything, you are source, and this world is your world. But if we don't operate from that place of consciousness, it's harder for us to recognize that. However, after you internally change your mind, you'll see the signs everywhere. And you'll be like, oh, everything is a sign. That's when like movies talk to you, songs, people, experiences. So that's helpful. And here's another little hack. And I think I've mentioned this, but I've been telling it to people because it seems pertinent right now. It feels pertinent. When you wake up in the morning, I always want to sing like a Raffi song. You brush your teeth. You brush your teeth. Fucking Raffi. When you wake up in the morning, before you get out of bed, this is called the hypnopompic state, right? When you're going to sleep, it's called the hypnagogic state. When you wake up, it's called the hypnopompic state. You say to yourself, you imaginally go ahead, don't pop out of bed, don't do anything, don't think about anything else. You go, oh man, you imagine yourself at the end of the day feeling, wow, that day went perfectly. What an amazing day where everything I wanted happened. It was the perfect way. Just do that and see what happens. Do that for like a week and see what happens. So that's a good way of getting rid of doubt, or when it pops up, being able to correctly identify what it is, which is a kind of a little helper. It's pressure testing your reality. No big deal. So yeah, that's it. And I get it. Doubt's healthy in a lot of ways. It's kind of like the fear you get before doing psychedelics or a new drug or something like that, or the fear or kind of doubt that comes from a new relationship. It's healthy. Means you're alive. It means you're really capable of testing yourself. Now, if it becomes unproductive and self-limiting, drop that shit, man. Drop that shit like a bad habit, because that's what it is. Just a bad habit. All right. You want to imagine something for me? Imagine me providing the best fucking readings anyone has ever had in their lives over the next year, because I'm going to be doing a lot of it. It's the most rewarding thing I've done for money in my life. I truly love it, and I know I'm going to be doing it, but if everyone kind of collectively imagine that for me, that would be great, because it allows me to do a lot of things, support my family, pursue my dreams. I'd be doing it anyway. Everyone knows that, but the reciprocity of what people walk away with these readings, It's awesome. Also, like, I will be in LA. I'm going to do more in-person ones, both at the house I'll be staying at and, at pop-up things. So stay tuned for that. I'll be in LA starting in January for most of the time. Okay? You heard? So that's going to be going on. Yeah, man. Shit's good. Number 2. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to shift pretty hard right now into some death stuff. Okay. So I'm sure you're here for it, but I think we're going to start. Yeah, we'll start with the dog stuff. Okay. My buddy Ryan, who we've been talking for a while, a couple of people have gotten in touch with me about their dogs passing, imminent passing at the time, like he's sick. What do we do? Can you imagine him well? And I give people 2 perspectives when they ask me about this type of stuff, healing. Sometimes we can faith heal those we love in ourselves. Not sometimes, all the time if we actually understand it. But however, we don't really want that all of the time. We might consciously think we don't want a loved one to pass on physically, but in reality, it teaches us something. And so this next question / statement, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but know that Ryan had a dog who was terminally ill. And he asked me, can you imagine the dog getting well? Because a lot of people ask stuff like that. And I was like, sure. But know that sometimes like what we conceive as physical death and such a finality and such an ending is not. And know that if you can imagine playing with your dog in your head and feel the feeling of being with your dog, that's your dog. And that's for everything. That's for people too. That's real. And it may sound wrong and be like, well, they're not physically here. You're just deluding yourself. Okay, sure. But that's real. So I like to offer that to people who are dealing with issues of death because it also kind of it just loosens the grip a little bit for people who are so taken. So I want to read some of the things. So Ryan's dog eventually passed on November 19th. And this is something like, this happens sometimes. People ask me to imagine things for them, and I know that I can kind of see the level of consciousness they're coming from. And it's not that it's not going to happen. It's that this is there to teach them something more than to have their imaginal act happen. And absolutely, if it clicks in, they can have that imaginal act happen, which is why I say you got it, because you will. If that's something you truly want and you can believe it for yourself, I will happily believe it for you. I do all the time. I have no judgment. Could ask for pretty much anything as long as it's not harming yourself or another, and I will imagine it for you. So Ryan's dog passed, and here's what he said. And he said he hopes this might be helpful for others going through something similar. Healing magic might be the most difficult to achieve because of the desperation that's often involved in it. Never mind when you couple that with trying to heal another being. I thought I was doing the imaginal technique without being attached to the outcome, but of course I wasn't. The emotional bond with my dog was incredibly strong, and my subconscious fear of losing him was unbelievably difficult to overcome. I'm also pretty sure that the healing that I was envisioning for him simply bounced off him and onto myself. Oh man, that makes me... Shit, dude, that's awesome. Fuck. I've been dealing with some of my own health concerns, and many of those... God, this is... I'm gonna stop crying on fucking episodes. Many of those issues have evaporated without me doing any... God damn. Gotta collect myself on this episode. Like when someone is saying something and it's just so obvious that's true, right? Do we get what's going on with this dude's dog? All right, let's break this down in a couple levels. His dog is quite literally healing him. Now, if you understand what dogs and animals are, they're you. So what's so beautiful about what's going on here is this dude is healing himself through his dog, which is real, right? But because he made it real. So this is basically like, it's like alchemy. Fuck, I gotta stop tearing up. Jesus Christ, no, get it together. It's gonna be this podcast is just gonna evolve into me crying for 20 minutes. No, okay, let's go back to this. Jesus Christ, dude. Many of those issues have evaporated without me doing anything too radically different from before. In fact, my body has been tackling way more than usual in the form of long film shoots that I never would have been able to handle over even a year ago. On the flip side, unfortunately, one health issue, pretty intense head neck pain that vanished between September and November after I read the Sarno book and started telling my brain that it doesn't need to protect me from emotions by distracting me with pain, has reappeared in the week since his death. I know it will go away again and stay gone this time. I guess I just have to be a little patient. All right, he has more, but okay, geez, all right. Yeah, that pain, don't worry, man. It'll go away real soon. Like it's not, it will go away. Just know it's gone and it'll go. Okay. That's just, there's a big psychic, if you're listening, I think probably a lot of that is related to, you're healing yourself. Your dog is real, but you're healing yourself. And to the weight of that psychically is heavy. And, sometimes we think our mind would be like, you'd rather be in physical pain than have to deal with the reality that you just like did some crazy shit. Okay. Number 2, same thing. I saw a really gifted animal communicator a few days before we put him to sleep, and she revealed that my dog was in bad shape basically from birth. We most likely far extended his life just because of how well we took care of him. As soon as he was born, he had to fend for himself and eating toxic garbage before he was rescued. She could see how inflamed his entire body was and confirmed that it wasn't just cancer but a host of other issues, and that he was staying around with us despite his suffering because he knew just how much we loved him. Oh, that's beautiful. I've realized that I have my own life path that involves some ambitious creative projects, and that had me constantly worried about him was blocking me from achieving these things. Wow, I was always deeply concerned about him even before he got sick because he needed so much emotional support and had severe separation anxiety. The realization stings a lot and makes me feel incredibly guilty that his return to health and my future endeavors were incompatible. I think there's an aspect of this imaginal technique sometimes taking the path of least resistance at play here. I think it's okay for me to reveal that my imaginal scene was my dog spinning around happily on a bed at a vacation home near the beach in Carolina that my wife and I visit each summer. Obviously, it implied that he lived until next August, which would be far beyond the 1 to 3 months his doctor gave us. I could say I failed because this didn't happen, but there are other ways this scene might play out. I could simply feel his presence strongly and see him spinning around on the bed like he used to when we were there this summer. I also do believe that dogs reincarnate and discuss this with the animal medium as well. She could tell our bond with him is incredibly strong and that when the time is right, he'll take on a new body and be back in our lives. I don't think I'd be ready for this for at least a year, but I didn't actually put a timetable on the imaginal vision. So that's a long way of me saying this could still occur despite his death. Dude, you're like a fucking Tibetan tulku or something. You getting it. You're getting it. In just the last few weeks since his death, it feels like my success with the imaginal technique has expanded greatly. Things are happening and I can feel a change. I've walked into a few scenes just this week that I wrote my imagination years ago, long before I discovered Goddard. Before this, I thought I was doing it wrong, but now I have to accept that I had to clear away this fear of loss and other blockages and really understand and value how much my dog taught me. Among many other lessons, he opened up emotionally. I was a really stoic person before rescuing him and brought a sense of magic into my life. Even on the day we put him to sleep, he brought me confirmation that my grandmother, who died in 2013, is one of my guides. She reached out in various ways that day. I wish I could feel my dog's presence more, but I also know that the time works differently in that realm. What seems like a day or an hour to him might be weeks for us. At least a few times I could ever so slightly feel him with me. He's shown us a few signs such as flickering, the lights in our apartment at once, finding things around the apartment were lost before, and constantly I'm seeing 444 and 222 now. Okay. Holy shit, man. That is some real deal stuff. Amazing. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy that you could process something as significant like a death and the loss of physical form, and what your dog and what you I want to be clear about this. Your dog is you, okay? I know it's another thing. I'm not saying like other people and other beings don't exist, but it's you. It's really you. And you just taught yourself basically like final boss lessons. And of course your imaginal acts are going better. You accepted something, and you also like, dude, you didn't let death interfere. You didn't call that a failure. That's so fucking amazing. Your dog, you imagined a scene where you're spinning around on a bed with your dog, and your dog died. Most people would be like, that's the end of it. I'm packing this shit up, going home. Noah's a loon. Doesn't work all the time. Works most of the time. You, my friend, have the wherewithal to say, oh my gosh, this dog could come back in any form. It's just an energy. And it could be a physical dog, and I could be spinning on this. I mean, dude, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. This is why I do this shit. All right. Let's go to number 3. More dead people stuff. Ryan, you're the best, though, man. Really, much love. You'll be feeling your dog's presence soon. Come on, man. You know that. Play some music that reminds you of him and watch him come. All right, number 3. My question to you is that I want to hear more details about this portal for the dead. I usually leap before I look, but this seems like something I need more answers to before I invite negative things into my house, which I don't necessarily believe I can do, as love seems to conquer all facts. I'm surprised that I want more info, but I want it. I figure others might as well. My questions about the portal are, if you feel the need to have to close it ever, is this a portal that you open in a particular spot of your home, or does it come with you wherever you are? Any other information you can think of that would be helpful as well. I have no issues dealing with entities that come from sleep paralysis, but I do know that we have some power and slightly concern enough to message you before I embark on opening portals. Okay. So the portals, what she's referring to are these light portals that we open in our imagination and we let, and again, this is just for dualistic reality. It's a game. It's fun. Don't let it get heavy. If you start worrying about negative stuff and all that, don't do it. But it can get heavy. You open these portals and then energies and people and, entities that maybe didn't have the same opportunities to enter higher dimensions or understand who they really were or deal with things like unconditional love, acceptance, grace, harmony. You open up a light portal for them and you allow them to go in and you tell them jokes and you play them music and it's fun. It's the most thing. It should be fun. Now, I don't do this in a particular place in my house. Everywhere is my home at this point, for real. Everything is my home. So I just do it in my imagination. That's the place it really exists. So I don't worry about the physical places. Yes, you could theoretically, ritualistically create a space somewhere in a house. I just I don't know, the physical interaction between spirits and realms and energies in this world. I haven't done that yet, mainly because I'm really transitioning in physical spaces. I'm not in the same space for that long, or I haven't been, I should say. I will be soon. And that is, probably a part of it for me. But if you have a place like an altar space, yeah, you could use that. You can close it whenever you want. Don't just leave some psychic ascension portal open all the time. You probably will invite all types of energies. Do it consciously. I close it when I'm done. I go, okay, that's enough. That's enough for me. Know your limits. It's like drugs. Don't go overboard. Know your personal tolerance. The portal is always with you because it is you. Again, this realm, this world is just not as real as the other ones. It seems more real, which is the paradox, but it's just not. And that's a key thing to remember. So the things you do here are less important than what you're doing in your imagination, what you're doing in, places where you don't have a body. So the portal is something that I would recommend if you feel called to deal with ancestral or generational or even geographical karma. That's great. Go ahead and do the portal thing. It's very effective. You can also just bless things around you if you get it. If you know how to bless things, you could be on a train, you could be on walking around, you could be on a plane. Just bless people. But you have to know how to bless yourself first. And so the portal, the last thing I'll say is, don't fuck around with this too much if you don't have your own shit stabilized, because that could be reflected back to you as a negative energy or a ghost or something like that. And the truth is you don't want to fuck around with that until you totally stabilize your own shit, right? That's very important. I would definitely bear that in mind with any of this stuff. I constantly remind people that just your own oxygen mask, it's a metaphor that's tried and true because it's just you have to do that. So if you're feeling real stable, real good, you can help people, go for it. It's like lending people money if you don't have money. Don't do that. Get your money first. That's the same thing you want to do with your spiritual money. What? Okay. Sure, Noah. Sure. Is there anything else here? No more questions that I have written down. I know some other ones came in. You got to email me. If you Instagram these questions, I won't get to them. Okay. let's talk about threshold guardians for a second. So sometimes threshold guardians can show up as younger versions of yourself that are scared. So this can be a fear, and you can identify it as like something that happened. Just give yourself a hug, play yourself a song, tell yourself a joke, and just let it pass. You'll let you pass. You're the threshold guardian, right? Have you realized you're living the dream yet? This is the dream for real, for real. Don't make it a nightmare. Why? I mean, unless you want that, but like, I don't like scary movies. I don't like horror movies. Have you remembered who you are yet? Have you? Life is fun, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay, that's pretty important. Okay, now we are going to get to some consciousness stuff. There are levels of consciousness, and we're going to use Noah's Ark as an example. I don't know which Neville Goddard talk I was listening to, but he was talking about the Ark. I perk up when he talks about Noah. How could I not? He uses Noah as in a variety of different ways. His sons, his 3 sons. But the Ark is interesting because a lot of people listen to the parable or read the parable of Noah's Ark and they're like, what the fuck? This makes no sense, clearly. Like 2 of each animal inside of one boat. Like it just doesn't make, logistically it doesn't make sense. And just like most people are like, this is dumb. I'm out skis, which is a shame because you would think people would have more critical senses of what's going on to be like, oh, maybe because it clearly doesn't make sense logically, maybe it's a metaphor. Maybe it's symbolic. Maybe it's an allegory. But no, people are like, yeah, the Bible is dumb. There was a flood. And also on the converse, people literally looking for the ark. Also, maybe not the best route. But no judgment. If that's what you believe, maybe the ark will show up. So here's what the ark is. There's the lower deck, the middle deck, and the upper deck, right? The lower deck is like our base level 3D reality. This is logic and reason and how this world works, our physical laws, our physical interactions, our relationships, the effect, basically. It's the lower deck. It's our physical reality. Okay. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just the lower base deck. The middle deck would be the conceptual, psychological, intellectual interpretations of this reality. So philosophy pertaining to the mental realms, the concepts, ethical dilemmas and concerns and things like that. And we can see religion start to get involved here with these kind of allegorical interpretations of things. The upper deck is your imagination. It's consciousness. It's understanding what this world is and how to not manipulate it, well, in some ways, but control it and use it ideally lovingly because it'll just work smoother for you and everyone around you, which is the goal. So this is the upper deck. This is the realm in which we can actually use our imagination and our consciousness, the spiritual realm, if you will, to influence the lower levels, right? And they're all in harmony. That's the beauty of this, is they're part of the same vessel. So we talk about the psychic waters. I've spoken about this. Psychic waters, the flood. The flood is all of this unconscious material coming to the top and quite literally drowning people psychically. People flailing, reacting, things triggering them, people getting depressed, getting caught in energies. That's drowning. Now, the fucked up thing is you can't even die really from that. It's like drowning in perpetuity. It's not very pleasant. So we build this ark. I've spoken about the ark being made of love, and it is. It's our consciousness. So if we can change our minds into love, not in just love and light, and like, I'm love and light, everything is great. Yeah, sure, fine. It is, actually. But all of the things in our life, use them all as vehicles. The shadow aspects, being, kind of wild sometimes. Those things are also aspects of consciousness, and make sure that we don't deny those. So that's really what we're trying to do with these decks, is we're using the upper deck of consciousness where we can see clearly. We're on top of the water. We know where we're going. We're navigating clearly. Just think about a deck of a ship. We're on the top. You know what's going on. That's where the captain is going to be. The middle level is maybe, where the passengers are, and they're talking about what's going on and how they're going to get there and what they're going to do. Maybe there's some like dinner service, who knows? And then the lower deck is like where the luggage is. It's just like where the stuff is. It's the effects. It's the things that come along with the other two. And that's what this world is. We make the mistake, unfortunately, of saying that, oh, this 3D lower deck is like, this is it. We're on the top. We're on the top fucking floor. Sound like some people you know? So just don't make that mistake. It's okay. Operate from the upper deck. You'll be okay. Okay, let's talk about some more consciousness stuff. Now, here's something you want to do. Walk in the joy of being, right? When you know that you are something, walk as though you are it, and you are quite literally it, right? Be a gardener. A gardener, I've had the luxury of gardening many things. You don't question whether your vegetables or your plants are coming up. You know they are. You know how it works. You have faith, loyalty to the unseen world. And you can say, oh, well, that's just because I know how plants work. I put my tomato seeds in, I put my weed seeds in, and they grow. Oh, think about it. Think about it. What seeds are you planting? Let's talk about consciousness being your Lord and husband, right? This is the active mechanism, this sense of I am. That is your Lord, your husband, your father. You understand? Masculine energy, okay? Your conscious state in which you dwell is your wife or beloved. Do you understand? This is your conscious state. This is what you choose to dwell in. If your mental diet is shitty, you're telling yourself not great thoughts. If your mental diet is amazing, you're saying, I'm so great. I live in abundance. I have people who love me. I have the perfect partners. I love fucking everything. Right? Perfect. That's your conscious state. Your consciousness, masculine, Lord, husband. Your conscious state in which you dwell. You are choosing your wife, your beloved. No, it has nothing to do with man or woman, okay? That is your conscious state. Your son is the visible world, your state made visible. There is the birth, the immaculate conception, Jesus Christ. People who, FYI, I'm throwing this in, people who sign up for these Christ consciousness episodes, readings, this coming week, next week, just buckle the fuck up. This shit is going to be amazing. I'm big upping my own shit for a reason. Just remember that. Your world is your defined consciousness objectified. Should I say it again? Your world, which you perceive, is your defined consciousness objectified, right? Your consciousness, Lord husband, mingles with the wife, chooses his beloved, the conscious state. Then it is made visible. That union creates the sun, which is the visible world, which is the defined consciousness objectified. Holy shit. Feeling of joy. Crucifixion. Do you know what crucifixion is? It's fixation. You bind yourself to it. So if you crucify the feeling of joy to yourself, you are fixated on it. Oh my friend, guess what happens? Expresses itself. What happens in between? There's an interval between when you feel the joy and it is actually seen in your world. Sometimes that's very short. That happened to me. It freaked me out 17 years ago. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But that Sabbath, that distance between when you feel the joy and then objectively witness it, that's called the Sabbath. There should be no effort on the Sabbath. What are you supposed to not do on the Sabbath? Does anyone know? Work, do shit, don't do anything. No, it has nothing to do with the day of a week. It has to do with resting and allowing, and that's it. Choose your feeling of joy. Choose your wish fulfilled. Crucify that to yourself. Fixate it, not in a weird way, and then take your Sabbath. And that interval will get shorter and shorter and shorter. I promise you. Choose your states wisely, your highest ideals, your moods, and your feelings. Be faithful to your beloved, which is your conscious state. Joy and beauty, ask yourself this. Is what I'm imagining for myself, is that made of joy and beauty? If it's yes, go for it. If it's no, reassess. That's it. Think of Jesus, right? This is some Bible stuff. I have no fucking idea what this means, but I do know this is something he did. Jesus entered the Garden of Gethsemane. Is that a thing? I don't know. Apparently, it's a beautiful garden that he went into, and he went in with his 12 disciples. What are we talking about here? Not a man going into a garden with other people. It's you going into the garden of paradise that you have created with your disciplined mind. Remember the 12 disciples episode? There you go. That's what's going on. Holy shit. That was even more. That's... If that didn't click for you, go back, because that's what I'm going to do, and listen to that again, because holy motherfucking shit. That is some real good stuff. So just dwell in your state. Choose your state of mind wisely. Know that it's happening. Have faith to it. Plant your seeds. Watch what happens next. It's incredible for anything. And if you find resistance, if you find doubt, Be thankful for it. Express gratitude. You're showing me, oh my gosh, I'm showing me where I need to work. And guess what? Work is effortless. It doesn't have to be, oh, I gotta do so many things. Sometimes you have to exert effort. Sometimes I have to organize how I do readings and set up my Patreon and all of these things. And yeah, it's, you know what? If you're doing an astrology reading with me, those are the squares, right? Those are the things where you have to paddle a little bit upstream. But guess what? It's fucking fun because I like paddling now and it's fun and I see the benefits and it makes my life better and gives me more skills in which to communicate things to people. It's fucking great. Take that approach with everything. Everything is to your advantage always. Isn't that cool? Even when shit seems like it's not, just accept that acceptance. Or just watch what happens. It's fucking incredible. It's like, I don't even know how to tell you how fucking cool it is. Is there anything else I meant to say? Is there? I don't know. There's good stuff. Lots of synchronicity playlists coming out. Go follow me on Spotify if you want those. I also just created an Eternal Shuffle playlist, which is about 700 songs. And I put them on random and it just tells me what I need to do. It's your unconscious speaking to you. It's the deepest part of you speaking to you. I highly recommend you do that. Questions, write in noah@syncpodcast.com. Go sign up for readings. Go sign up for the Patreon. There's going to be details. I'm going to send an email out to everyone. Also, I'll be doing a newsletter. I'll update people basically what's going on once a month. I'm moving cross country to Los Angeles for the majority of the year very soon. Bear with me during any transitions. There shouldn't be any interruption in flow of episodes or anything else. But if there is, if I'm not as communicative as normal, just bear with me on that. Outside of that, guys, this has been, and this isn't the year in review or anything, but it's just been such an amazing year. I know for so many of us, and don't get discouraged now is what I want people to know. Do not lose your faith now because what is coming will blow your fucking minds. I swear it. Why would I say that? Does it in any way sound like wishful thinking from me? At all. I'm telling you, just don't lose faith now. It won't even do anything if you do. It's not the end of the world. Just don't, because you don't need to. So that's it for this episode. Tell a friend about this podcast. Hit up some of your favorite podcasters and tell me who you want to have on the show. LA people, there'll be in-person readings. Just, hit me up. Let's hang. Mezcal. We're doing cool events. Just good shit. That's all I know. That is it for this episode. Happy imagining. See you with a guest in a few days. Bye-bye.